retreat. A second crew, this one from the Leander, rode in with a white flag of truce, but demanded to board the vessel, threatening to fire upon and burn the town. Okay, so this is around 1812, 1814. There's only 20 houses. What are they gonna burn down? Guess they weren't really sure what the hell we really had. Massachusetts Militia's Lieutenant Colonel Appleton and his men, who had set up headquarters at Walter and Polly Woodbury's house across from Folly Cove. That house there. Mike, where are you? I know he's in here. He's probably, maybe he left. Mike English. Oh, there he is. I'm sorry, Mike. He lives in that house. We know that house very well. Frank and I, we worked on that house. A very old house, 1750. So they set up headquarters in Walter and Polly Woodbury's house across from Folly Cove and dispatched the threat saying, as for his threats, we don't value them a mite. As the story goes, the battle was between Sir Collier's men with cannons and the Appleton Regiment on land with muskets. The Woodbury children, John J., 6 years old, and his sisters Rhoda and Pella, along with neighbor Mary Poland, were told to run up into the pasture and hide. The British cannonballs hit some trees, the pasture, and the braised chimney before the Leander moved out of musket range and retreated. That night after the battle, Appleton and his officers were evidently treated to Polly's fish chowder. We have since found newspaper articles that add other details to this story, and that's for another day. From their pension files, all three of these War of 1812 veterans, Dade and the Langsford brothers, were called for duty on September 19, 1814. They were members of Captain John Harris's company of Massachusetts Militia and the regiment under Lieutenant Colonel James Appleton. William Dade was a private. He was born on July 21st, 1794, the son of Isaac Dade, an Englishman, and Fanny Blundell. William ran a forge on the left side of Andrew Street, heading down to Lane's Cove. During the construction of the breakwater, him and other blacksmiths in the area used tons of iron to supply the straps holding the granite in place. William was married twice, first to Abigail Lane and second to Mary Sargent Stevens. William died March 3rd, 1879. His death notice reads, one of the few surviving pensioners of the War of 1812, died at the residence of his daughter, Mrs. William W. Chard, at Annisquam, on Sunday night in the 85th year of his age. He was a participant in the engagement which took place at Folly Cove in that war, serving in the capacity of fifer. Andrew Harridan Langsford was born 1796, served as a private in the Battle of Folly Cove, and died May 11, 1866. His pension file lists him as a fisherman, 5 foot 9 inches tall, with dark hair, dark eyes, and dark complexion. Andrew was married 3 times before her, according to Mary Jones, whom he married on July 10, 1837. She was born in 1804 and died in 1877. Andrew had 2 children, Abigail Langsford, wife of Nathan Todd, and Albert Andrew Langsford, a blacksmith, husband of Felina C. Boynton. William Langsford was born on December 31st, 1790. He served alongside his brother Andrew as a private in the Battle of Folly Cove. He married Pella Woodbury on December 22nd, 1816. The little girl who ran up into the pasture, that's who he married. William and his brother Andrew were listed as proprietors of the Lanes Cove Pier Company in 1842, which is a story for another day. William Langsford died October 7th, 1868 of dysentery. William's son, William Jr., was one of the oldest citizens on Cape Ann when he died at the age of 93 in 1912 at his Lanesville home. He was Ward 7, Lanesville's alderman in 1876, and a director and wharfinger of the Lanesville Beer Company for 10 years, from 1875 to 1885. William was a direct descendant of Richard Langsford, who settled in Pigeon Cove in 1726 and was among the first settlers of Cape Ann. I like this guy. I wish I knew this guy. He's such a character. John and Ellen Cashman O'Brien each made their way to Lanesville from Ireland. They were married in 1873 and celebrated 53 years and had 3 children together. John also had a daughter from his first marriage. John had come to America and settled in Douglas, Mass. in 1860, while Ellen came over in 1865 at the age of 18. He soon made his way to Rockport, made his way from Rockport. There he was in the stable business. He then settled in Lanesville at 1028 Washington Street. Probably not how the house looked back then, but that's what it looks like now. He was engaged in teaming in the milk business. Photos of John, nicknamed Johnny Come Lately, said it best. One show with his horse, Old Kate, was described peddling milk and sometimes danced a jig for the customer. He always had a kindly word and a pleasant smile. And the second strange, and the second strange as it may seem, he was a lover of nature. It is said that once he hurried home to persuade his wife, who was cooking mackerel, to go with him to the cove to witness a gorgeous sunset. It continued on to say that she was aghast at the idea that he said, what, leave, well, she said, what, leave the mackerel to see a sunset? No. Johnny died in 1926 and Ellen in 1939. Their funerals were held in their home on Washington Street with masses at the Sacred Heart Church and burials in Oak Hill Cemetery on Poplar Street in Gloucester. This one has some good and bad in it. One of the bad's really bad. Orland B. Lane, he was a Civil War veteran, and we saw those 2 stones in the previous thing. I mean, before I go into this story, I didn't know that Melissa had put those 2 stones in the presentation. And Les Bartlett, I don't know where Les is, Les sent me a postcard about Orland B. Lane's pension files. And I said, wow, you know, this is odd. Why would Les send me this? So I said to Melissa, I said, do we have anything on Orland? She said, yeah, he's in the presentation. I said, what do you mean he's in the presentation? She says, yeah, look at that file. So we had put this guy in the presentation. And Les didn't know. I didn't even know. And Les sends me this postcard. So that to me is a sign, that's a